I hope you guys can hear me okay. Uh, Not doing a show from the typical desk, although I am at my desk. But yeah, working in the shop today, and I tried to show you a little bit about what's going on in the shop uh, from the desk thing, but it wasn't really working. Remember, it cut out. But now I'm streaming straight from my phone, and I'm wondering if that might actually be a way to do it. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. I'm I've been playing with Lightburn. It's this software that lets you like burn stuff into things. And I've always been fascinated by this kind of three-tier idea for like packaging the El Rey magnet. You guys can hear me, right? Hi, Mel. Uh, hey, Les. Hey, Chelsea. And so it's probably gonna get loud here until I cut the fan off. But hang on a second. So this is CNC I converted to a laser, and so you can cut all kinds of cool stuff on here. I've been cutting little things out, right? And then here's like a laser cut that's like not fully strong. It's like origami, right? It's like an okay. Wait, is it back now? Okay, wait, is it back now? Muted. It's not muted, but yeah. Sorry, guys. I won't do that again. What I mean is that I'll the only way I'm going to be able um, to stream is if I downstairs is if I well, I don't know how to stream downstairs, honestly. That's weird. I have internet down there, but I guess I can't stream down there. Anyway, what I was doing down there was this. So it's like with the laser, I cut this out with the laser. So it's just a flat sheet of paper, right? And then these are like laser cuts which make it foldable. And then And so if you fold it right, here's like another version. And then if you fold it right, you can kind of create this sort of shape, right? And then you can put it in there, right? So it's like it's like my light just quit. So it's like all this is cut in house. Like all of this is from the laser paper. You get it. But yeah, so I've been playing with that today. Now that the laser's up and running, and yeah, so you can do the you can engrave the tin, and you can cut the paper to go inside, and then if I got really smart, I could print this paper two-sided, and then it could say cool stuff, on there. And this is just like a kind of a medium, sort of like a canvas. So you could picture this out of like a thicker paper too, and cool stuff would happen. Frickin' laser beams, Marty. That's right, frickin' laser beams. So yeah, it was fun. Oh, did Jay Brown get timed out? Oh, that's too bad, Jay Brown. I'm not sure what you did, but yeah. So I hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving. I sure did. And yeah, today I I've been building jigs to hold the paper, and I maybe I shouldn't even be doing this, but it'll be now that this is done. Now that this template's done, like it's a lot easier to kind of like throw different designs in it and stuff like that. So and I think that stuff's kind of cool. It's cool that we do stuff, and it's made me think a lot about like value and worth. Um, so what I mean by that is that I mentioned the other day that if you produce a product in the world, you are learning to pull self-worth from the economy, which is a conscious kind of berry. It's like you bury fruits of self-worth, and others give you their fruit through monetary, through like buying your product. Um, we tend to think of capitalism as mundane, but it's not really. There, as I've said before, there's a deep spiritual significance to assigning yourself to a certain value, like a uh, a minimum wage. If you work for a minimum wage, you spiritually are telling the universe, you spiritually feel okay telling the universe that my life force, if it's worthy of any kind of compensation or symbiosis, it would be the minimum amount due to any creature. We have these laws because we are in a garden of self-worth. If you work for a company and the company produces a product or provides a service, it's really the same thing, but it is true in a service too. If you're a server in a restaurant, if you're a cook in a restaurant, your self-worth is tied to the for the waiter, it'd be the tip that you get, but also for whether or not people are satisfied with the service. And if you work in the service industry, you're constantly going through a period of satisfying people's desire, which gives you a sense of self-worth. Sales is one of the hardest industries to survive in, and that truly is a symbol of our self-worth. Oh, is the sound choppy? Yeah, that's weird. I'm upstairs now. I guess like all lasers, maybe the laser beam is throwing it off or something. So anyway, I don't. Is it better now? Because I'll. It's a good. Okay. I hope you guys caught that. Um, I've already made the magnets, but I struggle. Not really struggle. I explore my self worth by thinking about the packaging. And I get the same thing when someone buys a book from me off my website. I sign it if it's my latest book, and a lot of signatures I don't like, so I have to kind of trash the book. And I trashed the book. Whoops. And I trashed the book because my signature doesn't feel worthy to put on something that's for sale or to put my autograph on something. It doesn't matter if this sounds silly. It's just proof of that we really do live in a garden of self worth of like assigning ourselves even the different income brackets that we have.
And it's not even necessarily. It could be an inverse square law, meaning that the people that need worth more desperately maybe are richer. I don't know. It's not even the point. It's James AirPod moved. Oh my gosh. I'm just getting all kinds of crazy technology bullshit. James True AirPod moved to Mac. Does that mean you guys can't hear me now? Okay, I'm never going to stream. Uh, I'll only stream. I won't do this anymore. At least not with this jumping around. And I think the AirPods made it worse for confusion. So, okay, thanks. My day's going great, David. I hope yours is too. Hope yours is too. It's so yeah. If you hate your job or if you find your job mundane, I want you to tap into the service part of your job where you are bequeathing self worth from something that you've done that day. If you're self employed, you'll notice that you don't always get paid. Like all the work you do doesn't necessarily mean you'll get paid. This is a profound thing. My neighbors redoing their deck, and the deck got delayed because of weather. That they started it last winter, they couldn't finish it to this winter. They trying to fit it in this winter, and then this hurricane hits. Then a tree falls and stops the people from working on the deck. And the people that are working on the deck, if they want to satisfy their contract with my neighbor, they're now in the tree cutting business. They have to remove this tree so they can get back to work. That's like a full days of work right there, just removing the trees. It's This is tied to their self worth. Contractors and farmers are kind of the same thing. Farmers were the first, not the first, but farmers were early patriarchs where they were independent nations. It takes a lot of self worth to be a farmer, and you encounter the same thing working through a capitalist system. It sounds way better without the AirPod. Okay, so I guess the AirPods are off. This isn't even working. That's probably what's happening, I guess. Okay. I rarely use these things, but I thought since I was going to go downstairs, it might pick up better. But yeah, all that dropped out. But man, it's. I wish I could show you downstairs. It's cool as fuck. Uh, Having all my equipment kind of hooked up, and I just had to do some serious cleaning, rethinking about the space. Man, even thinking about your space is like that's the shape of your body, like how organized your space is. What if everything's set up right? Like if everything's set up where it's optimizing the best. I don't have that now, but it's gotten better because I put so much effort into it lately. It's why I've been sort of playing hooky. I can't stop optimizing my space because all these techniques that I used to have returned because I've you know resurrected them from the buried nature of junk and time and just everything. I tend to lose my downstairs in the winter because it gets cold and it's just too expensive to heat. Um, and so I don't usually really live down there. And then in the winter, if I am down there, I end up having to retreat when it gets cold, which is kind of happening now, but that's okay. It's part of the. When I was younger, I thought you could just acquire tools, but you can't really do that. If you're acquiring a tool, it's kind of like buying a horse. Horses are expensive, and that's good. Horses are for special people in special situations that can afford to have a horse. If you can't afford to have a horse, it's you really have no responsibility keeping one. And tools are the same way. You you can get overloaded with you become obsessed with different techniques. This is me. I become obsessed with just different techniques, different mediums, just all of it. I just find it so enthralling. And so you end up bloating yourself because you maybe you have too many tools, right? Or not the layout isn't right typically is what it is. And your your genres change, and certainly that's a big part of it too. Certain things that you think are going to work don't end up working, things like that, right? But it's all a reflection of you. It's all a reflection of me. I don't really produce a lot out of my shop downstairs. I Most of the income that I make doesn't really come from there. It comes from my books or what I do up here. But none of it is actually really medium. All of it is thought or philosophy, which is fine. I don't want to change that. Um, I've Technology has always been a big part of my life, not really by choice, more just by necessity. Um, so yeah, but I don't get to I don't get to talk about how much time I burn on art, on medium, on establishing things that maybe not necessarily even make the most logical sense. I just find things interesting, you know, like that's exploring this idea is interesting to me. Maybe it shouldn't be. I don't know. This is 250 at 90 times 2. And it's the only way I'm going to remember this. 250 at 90 times 2. That's 250 millimeters per second. It's how fast the laser moves across it, right? So the longer a laser stays on something, the more impression it makes. And so if something's on the laser too much, it catches on fire. Another big bummer is you can't cut white paper with my laser. You can't cut white paper. The laser isn't able to burn anything that it can't see. Did you hear that? A laser cannot burn something that it cannot see. A laser cannot see white paper. My laser cannot see acrylic. My laser cannot see glass. My laser has a big problem with like colors that are near white. It doesn't perceive them, and so it doesn't burn them. Isn't that fascinating? This is fascinating as fuck. That there's a force that's powerful that it can't penetrate certain things. This never came up in Star Wars, but it should. The idea that a lightsaber would not actually be able to penetrate something that was pure white light. It's there's a solidity there. Not a solidity that you can touch, but a solidity in your impermeance to the blue laser. If a blue laser hits you and you're impenetrable to it, there's something interesting about that. It's an interesting part of the medium. One of the most devastating weapons for cutting is watching this thing cut. It's phenomenal how powerful it is. But if you put something white in front of it, it doesn't know what to do. That's interesting. I think a fly can't see white either. That's interesting. That wouldn't surprise me. We've talked to you a lot about how in the Iliad and the glimmering, that the white and the glimmering were the same. So the earliest glaukos, the earliest form of being shiny, would be would be associated with white. And I'm sorry that I go here. I really am. But first of all, when people get older, their hair tends to turn white. They're more uh, albino in age. Additionally, the albino has no melanin receptors. We turn off our ability to hide from the truth of God, and so our hair turns white. There's certainly in like X-Men, there's like a character that has like a white streak in her hair, but if you've met people that have that one white streak in their hair, there's typically an epigenetic link to that, some sort of trauma witness. I don't even necessarily mean that the person went through trauma, but they witnessed something that was just super fucking intense. It's so intense that it burns out part of their receptors. And if you were to think about every hair follicle on your head representing like as above, so below, every hair follicle in your head would represent the cilia around your cells, and that there's certain parts of your cilia are your ion channels. If you're symbiotically connected, the cilia become ion channels. But the point is that there's a region from your body where, just like your skin will grow a mole and say, oh, I don't want to look at the light through here, so too do you grow an anti-mole. And these are the people that have these giant white streaks that come out of their hair. It's like an anti-mole. It's like a certain part of the world where the brightest source reality came in, and they didn't stop it, or they couldn't stop it, or there was a reason why, things like that. Those people are usually pretty intense, by the way. And so, oh, you could stop freaking going to sleep, computer. Look, I'm sorry, I'm not like touching you. My computer's like, oh, you're not touching me. I'm gonna go to sleep. You're not gonna touch me. I wanna fucking migrate. It probably screwed up the thing. Late Hingsman, that's funny. So, it took me many years to fully respect space. Co-ops are very different things, for better or for worse. The polar opposite of living in your own detached home, having people scrutinize your life versus. I missed the rest of that, Zetek, but that looked interesting. Um, yeah, I used to want to run a co-op when I rented a gas station for a while when I was doing those sculptures. I needed a place to build those things, and so I've rented this gas station, and I thought about a makery, but there's so much babysitting. Um, Man, there's just so much babysitting. It's a lot. It's a lot, and things get just mangled all the time. Just even with my own crews, having your own crews, you kind of got to drop the hammer. It's sort of a pun, I guess. I guess carpenters probably have that. It makes me wonder if carpenters are like, I'm gonna drop the hammer. I don't know. Maybe it's never come up. But anyway, yeah, this is part of your magic, though. Um, Plasma cutters, pretty big deal. Like there's just a lot of things you need to have that around. You can't just have a plasma cutter. If you're gonna cruise around with a welder on the back of your truck, you're probably gonna want a dually. You're probably gonna want something big and hardy that's got a big enough chassis to handle that kind of thing, and you're gonna need a giant electrical rig that's gonna be completely impractical elsewhere. So it's like it's basically your instrument. What instruments can you play, or what instruments can you pull out in 3 seconds and say something with it? And this is the biggie. Most of your tools, where they're placed in the world, that has more to do with whether or not you can sing with the tool. That has more to do with it than your own proficiency. How adept are you at finding that tool, pulling it out, and doing something with it? See, to me, this is everything. Space is the alchemy, vibe is the alchemy of space. I mean that because if you can alchemize your space, you are alchemizing your own body. You're shaping your own body to be able to create in a proficient way. you know? I think this is why we fantasize so much about spaceships. We have dreams about spaceships because they're so sexy in the sense that they represent us. We're living in a vacuum of self, and we're responsible for our buoyancy, for our oxygen, our supply, our propulsion, our defenses, our docking, our navigation lights, all of those things. This is it's a lot. If we were in a training ground, you would want a kind of a terrain. You would want a landscape where you would wander around, because a landscape limits you from a flight space, like a fish swim space, into a flat space where you're on land. Sure, the land changes in elevation, but everyone is confined to a ground plane. And that ground plane makes it easier for people that are learning to navigate, that are learning to build their own vessel, their own Nautilus. So, a Nautilus, you ever seen a Nautilus swim through the water? It's fucking sexy as fuck, because it's a buoyant shell, but the shell is completely stabilized. And we're not quite ready for that Sheolic environment. We have a ground terrain which allows us to simplify things. That's why when we sleep, we just rest on the ground. We just rest on the ground. We just lay down. And when we lay down, when we rise in the morning, we gather all that electricity. This is the piloerection stuff we talk about. I think Tulsi Gabbard used to have a white streak. Yes. I think she still does. Rogan said it was from her deployment time. Yeah, it could be. Yeah, that's a good point. Someone asked if Tulsi Gabbard has a white streak. Yeah, I think she's got one of those white streaks too. Of course, it's probably from the Illuminati baby ceremony, right? Because she did this once. So apparently, if you do this, that means it's over. It's over. So tri-delts, you're fucked, right? Screw you. Nothing you can do. Things like that. Yeah. So fish float when sleeping. Man, you do. Yes, most do. Whales will go vertical. You probably knew that, Ace. But whales will go vertical. It's quite beautiful. They'll turn vertical and sleep. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, I'm sleeping. It's like, but you're vertical. It's like, yeah, we're fucking whales. And then you do some math and you're like, this makes total sense. And the whale's like, I know it makes sense. And I've told you this before. I woke up next to a lake and I opened my eyes and I saw the silhouette of the sky, and I noticed that gravity was an illusion, and that the reflection of the water of the sky gave two suns, and those were eyes. And God was looking right at me. The sun was his eyes. One was a reflective sun in the water, the other was the sun in the sky. And you only see God when you lie down, which is why when you die, when we rest, we lie down. Why? Because we're going to see God. You look at God directly in your face. Otherwise, you walk up to people and you're just like this. Hey, how's it going? Good to see you. And you and I can engage this way, but you're not fully engaging me this way. You're going to just sort of half-ass engaging me this way. And this is how we spend our world. It's like this. Believe me. Go camping next to a lake. Lay down. Keep your head facing the lake the whole time. Wake up in the morning. And you'll see what I mean. It's true. Dang it, computer. Computer. Stop conserving energy. Anyway, I should probably get back down there, make sure it's on fire. Ability to sleep omnidirectionally. Yeah, I sleep. Hello, I sleep omnidirectionally. Yeah, that'd be cool. Laura Palmer's dad in oh my god, we got some Twin Peaks going on here, guys. Somebody grab a pencil. Laura Palmer's dad in Twin Peaks hair turned all white. I think after she met the devil, see? Yeah. I laid out for Reno. Was trailed by 20 bills. It's the albino well, I think we misunderstand the devil personally. But
They call me Lucifer, so you should probably, take everything I say with a grain of salt, right? Take everything I say with a grain of salt. But yeah, you only see half of God. You only see half. And not even that, it'll melt your face off. God will melt your face off. That's what it'll say. Some baby's born with white translucent hair. Noah was that way, Richard, but you probably know that. Noah was born that way. Noah could speak. He was born just like, yo, Noah's in the house. Woo woo. Noah's in the house. His mother's like, why are you talking? He's like, because I'm an albino. I'm an albino. Yeah, he was doing all kinds of stuff. Some baby's born with white. You were? Oh, wow, Richard. I was born with really, really blonde hair, but I don't think it was white or translucent. Certainly wasn't Noah-esque. So, but yeah. We'll get back to shows on Monday. That'll be cool. Do some cool shows. Do some cool research stuff. Things are really getting kind of slower downstairs now that everything's been sort of solved and put away. And yeah, look forward to making more resin cookies and stuff like that. And hope you guys have a great weekend. I'm going to sign off, but appreciate you. Thankful for you and for the channel, and hope you guys have a great time. We'll see you next time. All right.